Hello everyone, my name is Christopher Rivero. I'm the owner of Esparza Rivero Law LLC. My law firm specializes in criminal defense and immigration. To start off, I want to say that this video is not considered legal advice. It's not being given as legal advice. It's for informational purposes only. All right, so I wanted to start with OVI. This is my first YouTube video, so I wanted to start with the most common phone call I get, and that is OVI, operating a vehicle while impaired. I practice law in Ohio, specifically Cleveland, Ohio, and it is the most common call I get. It is called OVI. In Florida, where I grew up, it's called DUI, driving under the influence. This is the exact same thing. There's no difference, just different terminology to describe the same charge. So the first piece of information I have for you is do not drink and drive, right? If you have another method of transportation after you've had a drink or two, then utilize that. Even the most expensive Uber ride is going to be a drop in the bucket compared to what it's going to cost you to fight an OVI charge. The fine alone for an OVI is a minimum $375. That's at minimum. That's not including court costs, not including the lawyer you have to hire, not including the job you may lose just for being charged with OVI, and not including the jobs in the future that you may not be able to get because you have an OVI on your record. So this could impact your life very seriously. So do not drink and drive. Not to mention it's very dangerous. You can kill someone if you're under the influence of drugs or alcohol while you're behind the wheel. So I don't condone that behavior. But if you are in a situation where you are stopped in an OVI, then this video is very valuable, okay? So 3 simple steps. I don't want to make the video too long and get into too many complicated legal terms and things like that because that's not important. The important thing is a simple 3-step process that you can play out in your mind if you happen to get stuck in this situation. Number 1 is to speak as little as possible. I'll elaborate on that a little bit later. Number 2, politely refuse all tests. And number 3, do not argue with the officers. Okay, so number 1, speak as little as possible. Why do I say that? I say to speak as little as possible because as soon as you are in that interaction with that officer is collecting evidence. Part of that evidence is slurred speech. Whether or not you're able to control yourself emotionally, stuttering, misspeaking, not making sense. All these things can happen if you're nervous. So speak as little as possible. Not to mention he's trying to smell your breath. So the less you talk, the less breath going to come out of your mouth, the less they're going to smell. As funny as that sounds, it's true. Okay, so next, politely refuse all tests. Okay, this includes field sobriety tests like walk and turn, stand on one leg and touch your nose, or count your ABCs backwards, or count backwards from 10, things like that. There's a bunch of different tests that officers use. I've seen so many. Most, if not all, are impossible to even complete sober, much less if you've had a drink or two under a condition where, even me as a defense attorney, if I get pulled over these days, my heart starts pumping a little bit. And I don't even know why, but it is completely normal to be highly nervous when you're dealing with police officers, okay? So you definitely want to politely refuse all tests. Those tests are not pass or fail. Those tests are scenarios where the officer is studying what you're doing and collecting evidence against you. The officers are using clues during those tests to then provide to the prosecutor to help prove the case against you, okay? So politely refuse all tests. That includes breath test. Now, officers are trained to say, well, we're going to automatically suspend your license. We're going to suspend your license if you don't do these tests. Well, guess what? Once they charge you with OVI, your license is going to be suspended anyway. So once you get to court, if there is no positive test, then there's a lot more ammunition for us to fight the case and get that suspension thrown out once we get you either a reduced charge, like a reckless operation, or once we get the case completely dismissed because they don't have a breathalyzer test. That breathalyzer test is scientific evidence that is considered highly credible to a jury and to a judge. So you definitely don't want to do those. Number 3 is simple. Don't argue with the officers. You're not going to win a battle arguing at the roadside. If that officer is going to take you into custody, he's going to take you into custody. He or she, I apologize for that, is going to take you into custody. whether or not, you know, you argue with them and plead your case and things like that. You're better off just staying silent, staying polite, and moving forward. Okay, so just a quick recap. Number one, don't drink and drive. All right, if you can find a different way home, take that way. Again, even the most expensive Uber ride, $200-300 is going to be much cheaper than what you end up spending if you're charged with OVI. So the basic 3 steps: speak as little as possible, politely refuse all tests, and do not argue with officers. All right. Everyone stay safe out there. I know we're in the middle of this COVID-19 pandemic, so everyone stay safe. If you have any questions, you want to know any specifics, please reach out to me. I'm going to add my contact information in the links to this video, and please reach out, text, email, call. I am very quick to respond. Communication is my number 1 priority. I communicate with everyone very quickly because it's the number 1 complaint people have about their lawyers. They can't get in contact with them. So I don't want to be that kind of lawyer. Please reach out if you need anything. Thank you and stay safe.